There comes a moment in every life when turning back is no longer an option, when the only way is forward and the only direction is victory. Imagine standing on the shore of your dreams, behind you the ships that brought you here, and ahead of you the life you've always wanted. And then, with a fire in your soul, you turn and you burn the boats. Why? Because success doesn't come to the half-hearted. It doesn't respond to maybe, to someday, or to I'll try. Success bows only to the one who says, I will either win or I will die trying. This isn't just about motivation. It's about making a decision so strong, so complete, that retreat is no longer an option. It's about putting yourself in a position where failure is impossible, because you refuse to give it space to exist. Let's talk about the fire that forges champions. Let's talk about what it really means to burn the boats. Let me ask you a question: what do you really want? I'm not talking about the watered-down version of your dreams that you say out loud because it's safe. I mean the real thing, the goal that wakes you up in the middle of the night, the one that makes your heart race when you think about actually achieving it, the one that's buried under years of doubt, fear, and compromise. You see, most people never get what they truly want in life because they never define it. They tiptoe through their years with fuzzy intentions and vague desires. I want to be successful. I want to be happy. But what does that actually mean? Success to you might not look anything like success to someone else. If you can't define it, how can you go after it with purpose? Every single great achievement in human history started with a clear and definite goal. Someone decided they were going to do something specific. Not maybe, not someday, but now, with all their heart, all their mind, all their soul. That's where power begins. The moment you choose one thing and commit to it completely, the universe starts to move. But until you get definite, until your desire becomes a command, you're just spinning in circles. You're allowing yourself to be distracted by 1,000 other possibilities. You're giving yourself excuses and exits before you've even begun. And here's the truth: you cannot conquer what you refuse to commit to. You can't win a war if you keep planning your retreat. Think about it. A general does not inspire his army by saying, let's give it a try. He inspires them by saying, this is our only option. We either win or we perish trying. That level of commitment does something to the human spirit. It awakens something primal, something unstoppable. When your mind believes there is no escape, it finds strength it didn't know it had. You must burn the boats by getting crystal clear on what you want. Not 5 different things. Not a backup plan. Just one dominating purpose. One thing that matters more than all the rest. And once you have that, everything else becomes easier to sort through. You start asking yourself, does this get me closer to my purpose? If the answer is no, it gets cut. No apology. No hesitation. But defining your purpose is only the beginning. That desire has to burn. It can't be a wish. It can't be a passing thought. It must become an obsession. That word, obsession, makes people uncomfortable. We've been taught to moderate everything, to stay balanced, to avoid extremes. And that's fine if you want average results. But if you're aiming for greatness, moderation won't carry you. If you want to move mountains, you can't approach the task with lukewarm enthusiasm. Let me be clear. You have the right to be obsessed with your vision. You have the right to go all in. In fact, it's the only way you'll ever see it come to life. All the people you admire, the game changers, the visionaries, the ones who created something out of nothing, they didn't get there by dabbling. They got there by burning the boats. They got there by eliminating plan B. They didn't say, I'll try. They said, this will happen, or I'll go down swinging. And here's the kicker. Once your desire becomes an obsession, you don't need motivation. You don't need someone else to push you. You become the engine. You start waking up earlier, staying up later, studying harder, taking risks, saying no to distractions, because now you're no longer interested. You're committed. But most people stop short. They say they want something, but they don't want it badly enough. They say they want to change their life, but they still keep the escape hatch open. They keep the job they hate just in case the business doesn't work. They stay in the comfort zone, not realizing that comfort is the silent killer of dreams. They tell themselves they'll go all in once things feel right. But things never feel right until you take the leap. The feeling follows the decision, not the other way around. That's why the moment you make your desire definite, and the moment it becomes an obsession, your life begins to accelerate. You stop wandering. You stop waiting. You start moving in one direction with everything you've got. And something incredible happens. Your mind starts to change. You begin to notice opportunities where you used to see obstacles. You attract people and resources that align with your mission. You start making decisions with confidence instead of confusion. You're no longer asking, should I? You're declaring, I must. This kind of mental clarity creates momentum. And momentum is what separates the wishers from the doers. Once you start rolling, once your mind locks in on the goal and refuses to let go, you become unstoppable. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You become the architect of your future. And yes, people will think you're crazy. They'll tell you to slow down. They'll say you're too intense, too ambitious, too obsessed. Let them talk. Because the truth is, most people are terrified of what it looks like when someone fully commits. They haven't tasted that kind of power themselves, so they try to convince you to dim your fire. But your fire isn't their responsibility. Your dream wasn't handed to them. It was given to you. And only you can breathe it into life. So you've got to protect that obsession. Feed it daily. Speak it out loud. Write it down every morning. Visualize it every night. And above all else, act like it's already yours. Because when your belief aligns with your desire, and your desire aligns with your actions, you begin to generate the kind of force that can change your entire world. But none of that starts until you get clear. Crystal clear. Until you can see your goal so vividly that you can taste it, fear it. Until it becomes more real in your mind than the world you see around you. That's when the magic starts. That's when you ignite something that can't be stopped. And that's when you earn the right to say, burn the boats. There is no going back. There is only forward. It's not enough to want success. It's not enough to dream about it. You have to decide. Decide that this is the life you're going to live. Decide that this is the destiny you're going to claim. Decide that nothing and no one will talk you out of it. That kind of decision, the kind that is made once and for all, is the decision that reshapes your reality. So ask yourself today, have you truly decided? Have you made your desire so definite that there is no room for confusion, compromise, or retreat? Have you turned it into an obsession that fuels your every move? Or are you still dipping your toes in the water, waiting for a sign? Here's the truth, the sign you're waiting for is already inside you. It's that burning feeling that refuses to die, no matter how much time passes or how many times you try to silence it. It's the voice that keeps whispering, there's more for you. It's the vision that keeps returning, even when you try to ignore it. That's not just imagination. That's your calling. That's your future. And it's waiting for you to finally say, I'm all in. So today, make that decision. Get definite, get obsessed, burn the boats, and never look back. There's a moment in every pursuit of greatness when logic fails you, when circumstances scream impossible, and reality appears to collapse around your feet. It's the point where many people quit, not because they lack talent or skill, but because they lack the one force that separates the victorious from the defeated: faith. Faith is not a soft word. It is not passive or fragile. It is the steel backbone of achievement. It is the invisible substance that connects your present situation to your future success. Without faith, action is hollow. Without faith, desire wavers. Without faith, you start looking back at the boats you were supposed to burn. When you set a goal that stretches beyond what you've ever done, when you dare to dream so big that it makes your hands sweat, you are going to feel resistance. The facts will rise against you. The opinions of others will weigh on your mind. Your own inner voice may whisper, who do you think you are? That's when you must stop looking at what's around you and start looking at what's within you. Faith begins in the unseen. It does not require proof to move forward. It creates the proof by its forward movement. The person who achieves what others believe is impossible is not someone who had a guaranteed outcome. They're someone who acted as if the outcome was already decided. That belief fuels everything. You can't touch faith, but you can feel it. It's the quiet power that pulls you out of bed when your body wants to quit. It's the fire that burns inside when the world gives you no reason to keep going. It's the determination to take the next step when the path is hidden by fog. Faith doesn't need the full picture. It just needs the vision and the commitment to keep walking. There will always be people who operate only by what they can see. They need the map before they take the trip. They want the guarantee before they make the investment. And because they wait for certainty, they miss the opportunity. Faith, on the other hand, says, I don't need the whole staircase. I just need the next step. And with every step taken, the path becomes clearer. But if you wait until you're confident, until you have every answer, until you've removed every risk, you will wait forever. Every successful person has walked through moments of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But what carried them through wasn't evidence. It was belief. A belief so powerful that it made them behave as though they couldn't fail. And that behavior, those bold steps taken in the midst of uncertainty, is what drew success toward them. Faith is the decision to move before the door opens. It's knocking even when no one has answered yet. It's planting seeds even when the ground looks barren. It's standing tall in a storm, knowing that clear skies are ahead. Not because the sky has cleared yet, but because you know who you are and what you were born to do. And here's the beautiful part. Faith is not something you're born with, it's something you build. You strengthen it by keeping your word to yourself. You grow it by honoring your decisions, by showing up when it's hard, and by refusing to let fear decide your next move. Every act of courage, every risk taken in pursuit of your vision, it all adds up. And eventually faith becomes your default setting. You no longer wait for motivation. You no longer need external approval. You move with a quiet confidence that says, "This dream is already mine." Faith isn't just about what you believe. It's about what you do because of what you believe. And that brings us to the next principle that changes everything: decisive action. Once you've declared your goal and set fire to the boats, you can't stand around thinking about it. You must act decisively, immediately, boldly, because nothing in the world moves until you move. Success doesn't respond to intention. It responds to motion. You can visualize all you want, journal every morning, speak affirmations to your mirror, but if you don't act, nothing changes. You cannot tiptoe your way into greatness. You cannot strategize your way into confidence. You build confidence by moving, by doing, by showing up in the face of doubt and saying, "Let's go." The more you move, the more momentum you build. And once momentum kicks in, everything begins to shift. Doors open, opportunities appear, but none of it happens without that first bold step. This is where most people hesitate. They wait for the perfect conditions. They say, "Once I'm ready, I'll move. Once I have more knowledge. Once I have more support. Once I feel more confident." But here's the truth: readiness is a myth. The person you admire, the one living the life you dream of, they weren't ready either. They just decided. They leaped. And in the process of leaping, they became ready. You become the person capable of achieving your vision by acting as if you already are. You train yourself for success through movement. You fail, you learn, you adjust. But you keep moving. Every decision, every step, every risk taken with boldness sharpens your ability. You gain knowledge, yes, but more importantly, you gain courage. You start to trust your instincts. You start to see that the things you were once afraid of can't hold you anymore. And listen carefully: decisive action doesn't mean reckless action. It means committed action. It means you move forward with intent, with direction. You're not busy for the sake of being busy. You are strategic, focused, and driven by purpose. Every move you make is connected to the bigger goal. You don't waste time. You don't second guess. You don't look over your shoulder. The boats are gone. The only direction now is forward. And when you move with that kind of certainty, others feel it. They may not understand it, but they'll be drawn to it. People follow those who walk with purpose. Opportunities attach themselves to people who take action. But when you hesitate, when you sit on the sidelines, waiting for some magical sign, the world passes you by. You have to become the kind of person who decides quickly and stands by those decisions. Indecision is the enemy of progress. Wavering weakens your will. Every time you stall, every time you say, "maybe," every time you look for someone else to tell you what to do, you chip away at your own belief. But when you decide, and when you follow that decision with immediate action, you strengthen your inner authority. You become the kind of person who creates their life, not the kind who reacts to it. Think about it this way: the world is full of people waiting, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for more clarity, waiting for the right mood. But nothing extraordinary has ever been born out of waiting. The people who change the world are those who move, who trust their gut, who jump before they're sure, who burn the boats and then take the hill. And the beautiful thing is, every action you take, no matter how small, compounds. A single decision, followed by courageous action, can set off a chain reaction that changes the course of your life. But it starts with you, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, if your vision is real, if your dream truly matters, if your desire is more than just a wish, then you must move. You must act. And you must do it with the belief that your success is inevitable. Because when you combine faith with decisive action, the world begins to respond in ways you never imagined. People show up, ideas come together, energy flows. And you begin to realize the power was never outside of you. It was within you all along, just waiting to be released through movement. So no more hesitation, No more hiding, no more playing small. You've got the vision, you've got the fire. Now let the world feel it. Move with faith, act with purpose, and watch what happens when you refuse to back down. There's something you need to understand about success. It doesn't happen in a straight line. You can be bold, you can burn the boats, you can have faith and take decisive action. But even with all of that, you will still face obstacles. You will still run into walls you didn't see coming. The question isn't whether problems will arise. They will. The question is, what will you do when they do? Most people make the mistake of interpreting resistance as a sign to quit. They think if the path gets hard, it must mean it wasn't meant for them. But nothing could be further from the truth. Resistance is not a stop sign, it's a test. It's the universe asking, how bad do you want it? And far too many people answer with silence. They freeze, they panic, they run back to comfort. But not you. You didn't burn the boats to run. You burned them because there is no going back. You've got to stop being surprised by challenges. You've got to expect them, not in a fearful way, but in a strong, prepared way. You are not here for the easy road. You are here to do something great. And greatness is forged in fire. You don't grow when everything goes your way. You grow when your back is against the wall, and quitting would be easier than pushing forward. That's when the real champions are revealed. You have to stop taking temporary defeat as permanent failure. The greats, the people who've changed history, shaped industries, and rewritten the rules of what's possible, every single one of them failed. Not once, not twice, over and over, but they kept coming. They didn't see failure as final. They saw it as feedback. They adjusted, learned, evolved, and kept going. And that's what you must do. It's not about having a perfect journey. It's about being relentless. It's about developing what some people call the stickability factor. The unshakable determination to stay locked in on your goal no matter how long it takes or how hard it gets. When others are giving up, you're digging deeper. When others are crying about how hard it is, you're training your mind to ask, what's the next move? Because here's the truth. Obstacles are not there to stop you. They are there to reveal you, to expose what you're made of. They show you whether your dream is a hobby or a commitment. And when you treat your dream like something sacred, when you refuse to give up on it, life begins to make a way. But it doesn't happen until you earn it. And how do you earn it? You persist. You outlast the storm. You keep showing up after others have disappeared. You become so determined that even setbacks start respecting your resolve. That's the energy that changes everything. The world doesn't reward the most talented. It rewards the most committed. The ones who keep knocking when the door stays shut. The ones who show up even when no one's watching. The ones who rise after falling, not once or twice, but a dozen times. And still walk forward like they've already won. If you want to win big, you must prepare for adversity. You must armor your mind against fear, doubt, and negativity. You've got to learn how to talk to yourself when everything outside of you is screaming failure. You've got to be able to say, this is just a chapter, not the whole story. You've got to remind yourself of who you are and what you're made for. And that leads us to one of the most overlooked elements of success, the environment you build around yourself. Because here's the truth, you can have the best mindset in the world, but if you're surrounded by voices that doubt you, if you're living in a space that drains your energy, if your daily environment contradicts your vision, it will sabotage your progress. You've got to become the architect of your world. You cannot leave your surroundings to chance. Everything around you is either feeding your fire or smothering it. And it's your responsibility to decide what stays and what goes. Look at the people in your life. Are they lifting you or limiting you? Do they speak to your potential or your past? Do they challenge you to rise or comfort you in mediocrity? Because let's be honest, many people will love you as long as you stay the same. But the moment you start growing, the moment you start chasing something bigger, they'll get uncomfortable. And that's okay. Let them be uncomfortable. But don't you dare shrink to keep them calm. Your dream is too important to water it down for the approval of people who weren't given your vision. You've got to protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. That means sometimes you have to distance yourself from good people who aren't going where you're going. That means cutting off conversations that revolve around gossip, fear, and failure. That means being intentional about what you listen to, what you read, and what you allow into your mental space. Success is not just about what you do. It's also about what you avoid. You can't grow in toxic soil. You can't soar if you're surrounded by anchors. And the sad truth is, Some people in your life don't want to see you win, not because they're evil, but because your progress reminds them of their stagnation. Your courage exposes their comfort. Your movement makes their excuses feel small. That's why you've got to curate your circle. Surround yourself with people who speak possibility, people who make you uncomfortable in the right ways, people who see greatness in you and hold you to it. That's not arrogance, that's wisdom, because iron sharpens iron, and the voices you hear most often become the script your mind runs on. Make sure they're pushing you higher. You've also got to control your physical environment. Is your space a reflection of your purpose or a reflection of your past? Walk into the room where you spend the most time. Does it inspire you? Does it energize you? Or does it pull you back into comfort and distraction? You cannot afford to build a future in a space that reinforces the old you. This might sound extreme to some, but remember, you burned the boats. You didn't come this far to leave anything up to chance. Every detail matters. The music you listen to, the words you write, the habits you reinforce, all of it is shaping your identity, and your identity dictates your results. When you start deliberately shaping your environment, you begin to operate differently. Your decisions get clearer, your time gets protected, your focus sharpens. You no longer move through your days reacting. You move with intention. Every step becomes strategic. Every hour becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. There will be moments when the pressure gets heavy, when you feel like your world is collapsing, when your environment seems hostile, when obstacles come from every angle. That's the moment you double down. That's when you lean into your training, your vision, your faith. You don't retreat, you don't collapse. You expand, you rise. Because pressure doesn't break you, it builds you, it refines you. It teaches you how to stay calm in chaos, how to think clearly under stress, how to keep your eyes on the mountain when everyone else is focused on the mud. That kind of mental power, that kind of resilience, that kind of environmental control, it becomes your superpower. When others fall, you'll still be standing. When others quit, you'll still be moving. When others let the world dictate their future, you'll be designing yours. Not because it was easier for you, but because you made a decision. A real decision. You didn't wait for perfect. You didn't need a guarantee. You didn't keep the boats parked just in case. You burned them. And because you did, you kept walking when others turned back. You found a way when there was none. You climbed higher, dug deeper, stood taller. And that's what it takes. Not luck, not just talent, but unshakable resilience, relentless persistence, ruthless control over your environment. That's how you make the impossible real. That's how you earn your victory.